The rotating acrostics, summary, active learning experience prompts students to construct acrostics that summarize key points learned during an intentionally checked presentation or text. An acrostic is a single word that captures the topic of new learning with descriptive words, phrases, statements that are formed from each letter of the word. This technique engages all learners as they discuss concepts, negotiate words, make connections, and compose concise statements or phrases that capture the gist of new content. Before the students begin this active learning experience, the teacher must identify a single term to use as the focal point for the lesson. For example, if the lesson will introduce students to the 3 branches of government, the teacher might select the word balance as a targeted term for the acrostics. The teacher divides his or her presentation into segments, taking into account the number of letters in the targeted term. Thus, if balance is the target term, the presentation needs to be divided into 7 chunks. Each chunk should contain enough new information for students to consider, but not too much for them to process before another chunk is presented. Students will be divided into groups of 3 to 4, with 4 being the preferable size. Students should already be familiar and adept at collaborative learning so that during the activity the focus can be on the learning, not the dynamics of working in a group. Once students are in their assigned groups, one of the group members will write the targeted term down the left side of the poster paper. The teacher will present the first chunk of information. Then, students will be given a set amount of time to deliberate and pinpoint the gist of this new information. They should generate a succinct sentence or phrase that represents the new information, but it must begin with one of the letters from the targeted term. Once their sentence summarizing the first chunk is completed, students will rotate their poster clockwise to another group. When they receive their new acrostic poster, students should discuss the sentences on the new acrostic, providing additional processing time for the students and additional monitoring time for the teacher to check for understanding and give immediate feedback. The teacher will then present the next burst of information, and the students will complete the same process. Remind students that they must generate a sentence or phrase for a letter not already used in the acrostic they currently have. They also should not repeat any information already expressed in other statements. Continue this process until all chunks of information and all letters of the targeted word have been accounted for. Students should rotate the acrostics a final time so they end up with their original acrostic. To synthesize their understanding, the group will read through the acrostic and determine if any words need to be added from the learning that may have been forgotten. At this point, the students should finalize their understanding with a synthesis activity. This could be writing a short summary paragraph based on their acrostic in their notes, creating a visual representation using the acrostic as their guide, presenting their acrostic to another team, noting similarities or differences, or completing a gallery walk of each acrostic, noting ideas that were different from theirs. The rotating acrostic active learning experience promotes academic discussions, active participation, and critical thinking. It provides teachers multiple opportunities to formatively assess during each round of the acrostic by noting and immediately clarifying any misconceptions, as well as pausing to spotlight insightful group ideas and having those shared with the entire class.